You can make your life feel way much be better. All right, wait a second. All right, so the lesson, well, maybe a kind of lesson, maybe a kind of things that I want to share. It's about this line. You are the cause, not the effect. So now in social, since our life is greatly occupied by social media, so we will always be able to see people using first perspective to write their stories. And when would be the situation that people try to write stories? Probably at a time when they suffer from some kind of anxiety, when they encounter some kind of obstacles, when they encounter some kind of distress in their life. So that would be the time that they try to use first perspective to write their story. And when we read this kind of story, we gradually project ourselves in that person's perspective, in that person's situation, so that we think that kind of situation will also happening on, if that kind of things would happening on that guy, the kind of things would just happening on me eventually. Take it as an example. Let me tell you one this way. So there is a guy and a girl, they are on a date, okay, they're in a relationship, and suddenly the girl cheating on the guy. And then the guy writes up a story posting about what is happening to his life. And then you see that kind of story, you gradually you see that kind of story once, you see that kind of story twice, you see that kind of story 3 times, you see that kind of story many, many times, and you gradually will try to project yourself as the person whose girlfriend is cheating on him. So that way, meaning you are thinking about yourself as the effect. Okay, that's one example. And the second example that I can tell you is that you can see a lot of people complaining about how horrible the government is operating, how horrible how ridiculous the economy is experiencing a recession, how everything is really fucked up. Okay, you see a lot of people using first perspective to see and express their opinion on these kind of things. And more people and a bunch of people, they just try to think about these kind of things, also affecting them as well. And this time, do you see that? They put themselves in the shoes of the effect. What I mean the cause is the person who is able to control everything, who is able to benefit from people who suffer from it. For example, if there's a girl cheating on a guy, you don't think yourself as the one who's being cheated on. You think about yourself as the one who take the girls from another dude. You project yourself into that position. You don't project yourself to the victim. You project yourself to the predator. Or you can project yourself to the one, if that girl is going to cheating on me, I should cheat on him. I should cheat on her first. Okay? You project yourself into that position, so that can make you feel way better. And then the time that these kind of things make you feel way better, it gradually try to change your move. You no longer live in scarcity. You no longer live in fear. You no longer live in hate speech. Instead, you live in a productive attitude. So that you try to do things to actually make your life better. And also the one that I just mentioned about, we are having a economy recession. Of course, there's an economy recession. Who the hell doesn't know? It's just normal thing. But we still can see some people can benefit from economic recession, from the economic downturn, right? You can still see there are many millionaires. They're flexing how much money did they make in that day, what kind of asset that they possess. They all try to flex that on the internet. Why don't you project yourself as that kind of person? Think yourself as the cause, not the effect. And then when you think yourself as the cause, you will gradually try to think, what kind of ways can I use to make myself the cause rather than the effect? If you think like the one who's the victim, you act like a victim. If you think yourself as the predator, you act like a predator. And this world is so cruel that it's not a life or death decision. It's not like a life or death situation. But you will see it, that it's more like a predator. There's some kind of suppressor, some kind of the one who's being suppressed. Okay, this is the information that I want to relay to you. Is that think yourself as the cause, not the effect. This kind of mindset keeps you think way better, keeps your whole emotion works better for your own sake. And the second thing I want to say is about emotion. Not really emotion, but more about, not really emotion, but stay above the conversation. The second thing that I want to tell you is stay above the conversation. There are many times that you try to talk to your colleagues, try to talk to your friends, try to talk to your parents, try to talk to your loved one. You more or less would try to have a real conversation with them, but end up getting no productive effect or no productive result. You know what I mean? The time that you're spending talking with another person and still don't learn anything, this is what I call unproductive conversation. And if a conversation is unproductive, you should not invest too much emotion in it. If you invest way too much emotion in it, you gradually would have your emotion being manipulated by the other part. For example, there's another day, just yesterday I had a call with my mom, and my mom was like, complaining about the things that my sister used to does to her, and she felt really unpleasant. And I told her that, I try to make the conversation become productive. I try to make her learn something. And I said that, well, it's warranty for you to have that kind of feeling, but don't you know that it was because in his younger year, the way how you educate her is wrong. And my mom was like totally freaked out. She was like going bitchy about everything. And then I just couldn't make a conversation. And then it was at that point I realized I tried to stay in the conversation. I tried to actually talk to her. Even if I knew that the result is not going to be productive. Because we have this kind of conversation many, many times. And then it was at that moment that I tried to stay above the conversation. I said, stay above the conversation means you say what they want to hear. You know what I mean? You say what they want to hear, and let them just get, use the quickest possible time to stay away from your life, because that's not going to make your life become productive at all. So instead of trying to have any kind of logical conversation with my mom, I just decided to stop doing that kind of conversation, and I recognized her emotion. I said, yeah, that's totally my sister's wrong, and there's nothing wrong with you, and you've been doing hard work in those kind of early years, and I asked her to do this kind of stuff, and then she immediately felt better. You know, it's really ridiculous because at the end of the day, I didn't do anything to really change your life at all. It was more about I try to, just give some kind of information, and then it's not even giving any kind of information, but just trying to console her emotion, and then that works. So the same thing goes to the one with your loved one, okay? If your loved one is bitching about you and saying all these kind of shit make you really discomfort, she tries to drag you back to the logical conversation, don't fall into her trap. That's a scam, okay? That's a trap. Don't fall for it. If you fall for it, you're gonna ruin your life. Absolutely, without a doubt. You're gonna ruin your life. So don't do such a kind of things, okay? So there will be two things. First, you are the cause, not the effect. Second, stay above the conversation, and then you can manipulate, you can utilize your emotion. Don't you know how valuable your emotion energy really is? You need to realize, you need to be mature enough to realize how important your emotion energy really is. Because in the very early morning, we have less entropy. So at that time, we can do more productive activities like learning something, like hitting at the gym, doing some kind of workout. That would be the perfect time to do those kind of stuff. But I see a lot of people, they just, I see a lot of people, including myself as well, I used to just wake up in the morning and then just scroll all this kind of, social media, and then just try to have a logical conversation with those people. But eventually I didn't learn anything at the end of the day. So that's totally a waste of my time, okay? Try to make your time, try to be more responsible for your time. Because you are out here living in this world. You are not living for someone else. You are solely living for yourself. And there will be nobody understanding you. And you're gonna be fully responsible for your time, okay? So first, that's the way. So all of these two ways are the things that can make your emotion become, receive the kind of serenity that it wants, okay? First, think about you are the cause, not the effect. Second, stay above the conversations, okay? That's pretty much the things that I want to tell you today. And there's something more that I would like to say, because in the past few days, I didn't upload any kind of video because I made a lot of excuses, but this time I'm gonna be a man to myself, okay? I had a lot of time that I could actually upload some kind of videos, but I decided not to do that because I was overly comfortable with my life. So right now I'm thinking about, but that kind of comfortable is not a positive one, but more like a negative one, right? Just totally indulge myself in short-term happiness. That's not the kind of life for me. I'm not a man of that, okay? If you always indulge yourself in short-term happiness, you will never be able to reach a point that you feel the genuine happiness. Because if at the end of the day, you have your dopamine surge for the short-term self-destructive activities, later on, when you become conscious, when you become hinged, you will know there are a lot of things that you used to do are totally waste of your time, and you're living your life in regret. And that's not the kind of life that I want, okay? I want to be active, I want to be, proactive as well. I want to be productive. That's the kind of life that I want. Because at that time, I no longer feel happiness the time when I was doing those kind of activities. I also feel happy after I have done it. I even feel happier when I go to sleep. Because at that time, I know I made myself proud. Alright? So that's pretty much the information I want to tell you in the day. And don't worry, the day after tomorrow, I will constantly uploading videos. I will constantly uploading my content on this channel. And gradually, I'm going to make this channel become bigger, I wish my message reach out to other people. And I also use this as a way for me to improve myself, to improve my articulation, improve how I make these kind of videos. I want to reach out to a lot of people, actually try to influence them, okay? I wish this video is going to be helpful for you, and I will see you